March 6, 2020. It's around 9 a.m. and I'm in my sophomore year of high school. I just got to my third hour in my health and wellness class, and I sat down and my teacher handed me a quiz. I didn't know there was a quiz. I got the paper, and right before I answered the first question, I get the notification. Lil Uzi Vert surprise drops the most anticipated rap album of all time. At first, I didn't even believe it. I went straight to Uzi's SoundCloud and there it was. Atake was actually there. From the urge of my excitement, I could have easily announced to the class that Uzi dropped and witnessed their emotional reaction to the news. But I decided to keep it to myself. Instead, I put an AirPod in my left ear where the teacher couldn't see it, and I began to play the album, and right when I pressed play, I heard,
Welcome to Eternal Atake.
I turned to an addict, I brought me a paddock, I brought her a baby one.
It was finally here. I was actually listening to the album. I was experiencing one of the best days for rap music. And through the intro Baby Pluto, my entire focus was on the music I was hearing in my one ear. And as the first song builds up, it seems I was synced even further. I was in Eternal Atake.
Oh my God, y'all niggas bet you'll be for y'all, I'll be dead.
Graduated. It feels like Uzi released his project so recently, but yet time flies. Now I get a bit of nostalgia from hearing the project, especially because it was when life was normal and I was still experiencing high school. Another reason is the impact of COVID, and the fact that it came out right before it happened. During the lockdown, I started to pursue drawing a lot more, and while I was drawing, I would oftentimes listen to the album.
You is a lie.
But it feels like life wasn't the same once I came back to school. It just didn't feel right. So oftentimes I would look back at this project from the last moments of being a kid. And no matter what you thought of the album, if you thought it was his best project or worst project, you can agree that during the time, this was the most anticipated and hyped up album in a very long time. And you can remember the hype and the exact place you were when the project dropped. When Eternal Atake came out, it was 3 years since his last project. And I still pictured in my head that Uzi had the pink dreads, was shoulder rolling, and was obsessed with his girlfriend Brittany.
Brittany be my baby.
So it seems that's what we were expecting on the project. But Uzi was a complete different person by then. And obviously we got glimpses of old Uzi, but it just wasn't the same. And it was because he evolved as an artist. So listening to the project, it was a different experience because Uzi had growth and the sound was experimental from what it used to be. Going back to the day the album dropped, I listened to the full project in 2 class periods. And when it came to the last song, P2, it was a moment of realization like, wow, this is it. This is the last song on the project. And at the time, it was too early to have an opinion yet, but I just realized that we've been waiting for this moment for 3 years. And I was hoping to hear this project end off on a high note with the last song. Then I heard,
I don't really care if I'm done. I don't really care if you cry.
August 25th, 2017. Uzi dropped, in my opinion, his best project with Luv Is Rage 2. And it's nice to see how well this album aged on me from when I was in 8th grade listening to it. I remember especially blasting this project in the locker room before my team's football games.
My diamond ain't frozen. Ooh, pocket loaded. Better keep up, yeah. That's a fun. Hit your girl with it. Oh, sauce it down, sauce it up. Do too much. Get DR discounts from my cougar. Back in the 6th grade, I got the bad grades. I was in love with my tutor.
And even though we weren't that good as a team, it helped to bond with teammates because everyone liked Uzi. So when we would lose, we would do the same.
I know it hurts sometimes, but you.
And if you're around my age, we can look back in the mid-years of the 2010s being so great, but really it was just simple. At a young age, you want to be entertained constantly, with your biggest worry being if the girl in your science class likes you back. So we can look back at Uzi's music,
Yeah, alright. You was right, I was wrong.
or music in general around the mid-2010s,
I spy with my little eye.
and get a bit of nostalgia from when times were simpler. And it's crazy to think that Uzi was on the come up and was an XXL freshman around 6 to 7 years ago.
Hey, hit that bit right from the back, she got turkey. I knock out that bit like it's stuffing. Yeah, told that little bitch that I'm with it.
When an artist reaches the year Uzi has, they seem to often fade off the spectrum. And with the lack of releases from Uzi since 2017, you would think the same would happen for him. But yet, he still stands having a major cult following and just released another hit song, Just Wanna Rock, which hit number 21 on Billboard and almost 100 million streams on Spotify.
I just wanna rock. Body out of ya. Shorty got that body out of ya.
And even Taken from the experimental sound of Eternal Atake, he has started the rollout for his newest album, Pink Tape. And from releasing his EP, Red and White, which gave a preview of his most popular grails from the early years of Uzi,
Had to flex up, got my check up on some special, yeah.
it seems he's starting to get back the hype with this project that he had with Eternal Atake. Oh, and I'm not talking about Pink Tape. I'm talking about
16, 20,
the collab tape with Playboi Carti. This project has been known to be in the works for over 5 years now. Two SoundCloud icons have major ride or die cult followings.
That's that dirty. That girl all up in my face like she ain't tried to swerve me.
Almost every time I open social media and see any news or media about the two artists, all the comments say 1629 next week. Obviously throwing a joke at it because truly fans don't know when they'll get the album. But it seems it's the only project that fans want. The buildup has been happening, rumors and hints of the collaboration coming out for years now. Uzi and Carti are aware of how much of a chokehold they have on the music industry with this album. They know how impactful it would be. They know it's what the people want. And I'm not sure when we'll get the album, but it's gonna drop eventually. And once the rollout starts, I don't see them announcing it. I see the same thing that happened with Eternal Atake, a surprise release. And when it comes out, it's gonna be nothing but a nostalgia trip all over again.
I got tell my bestie, someone call my bestie. Think I found my bestie, link up, make a check, please. You know that I'm smoking dope, I'll be hot till next week. No, I had to let her go, cause she can't